A blessed afternoon to each and every one of you. Welcome to Purelight Missions. This is your afternoon program. My name is Charles Freedom Hleza, and I'm going to take you through this afternoon program today. Before we begin, let us have a word of prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord, who art above in heaven, may your grace and your mercy attend to us. You speak to our hearts, speak to our minds, and help us, Lord, to be receptive to what you have got to teach us today. For you desire that we may have vibrant health and that we may have a sound spiritual mind. May you help us, Lord, to obtain this through the principles that we're going to learn today. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. The title of our message today is Natural Remedies, Testify, Part 2. And this is part of the Faith-Based Pharmaceutical series. Last Sabbath, we looked at natural remedies, especially herbal remedies, as they appear in the Bible. We looked at that and how they were used back then in the Bible and how today some of them are still used in the same way and some in a different way. Today, we are going to look at natural remedies, that is the herbal remedies, from the inspired pen, that is the writings of Ellen White. Last Sabbath, we established also that when we talk about natural remedies, we are not basically referring to herbal remedies or botanics or phytotherapy, but we are referring to the whole approach of New Start, of which herbal remedies play a role within that particular arena of New Start. And thus, we are just looking at this particular aspect, this particular smaller percentage of herbal remedies. And what we're going to realize today is that natural remedies are God-inspired. And we're going to look at some of the remedies that Ellen White made use of and that she recommended. We're not going to exhaust all of them, but we're just going to look at some of them that can be beneficial to us. The other afternoon, we also looked at why the health message was given to the Adventist church. But I just want to remind you of why it was given, for it will help us even today if you had not yet gone through that presentation. So you want to visit our YouTube page and look for this particular presentation, why the health message or why the health reform message was given to the Adventist church, and go through it. That will help you to be able to comprehend the lesson today in a better way. And I'm reading from Maranatha, page 185, paragraph 4. The medical work done in connection with the giving of the third angel's message is to accomplish wonderful results. It is to be a sanctifying, unifying work corresponding to the work which the great head of the church sent forth the first disciples to do. And this is the third angel's messages. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out with that mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the passion of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Here's an invitation to be separate from the world, an invitation to come out of Babylon, an invitation to come out of confusion, an invitation to come out of worldly ideas and methodologies, to come out of world viewpoints of living life and come into the presence of God and live a God-led life. And when we do this, then we have the passions of the saints. And what identifies these saints that have got patience? The ones that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus, the ones that realize that the Bible is a key fundamental textbook as far as our life here on earth is concerned, and also realize that spirit of prophecy is also a fundamental and key textbook that we can make use of as far as our journey here on life is concerned. Then we'll be able to graduate from this primary school that we're engaged in today into the higher school in heaven and in the new earth into eternity, a school that will not graduate from, but where we'll be continually learning at the feet of Jesus. But why is there a lack of interest in natural remedies? Why is there a lack of interest in therapeutic nutrition? Why is there a lack of interest in therapeutic exercise, therapeutic sunshine, therapeutic use of fresh air, temperance, therapeutic use of rest and trust in God, or just generally the appreciation of these principles? It is because of the world that we are living in today and how the greater part even of the Adventist church members have embraced the systems that have been set in the world and not embracing the systems that God has set. The physician's example has got an educating influence. So many people today, when it comes to gaining health, how to prevent sickness and how to recover from sickness, the first point of call is a doctor. The first point of call is a hospital. The first point of call is a clinic. This is what the world has taught the general public. And this is what also has been propagated within the Seventh-day Adventist Church by many people, and they've accepted it. And when it comes to natural remedies, they have not really gotten their footing and ground very well. And that's why we are emphasizing on this particular subject, that it may have a footing and that we may embrace this message, for it is for us, the children of God today. So the physician's example has got an educating influence. And if the physician is not getting this education in their school to become a medical doctor, then you will not be getting this particular kind of education, this particular kind of services when you go to the offices for service. There are some physicians that are doing a wonderful work that have come from Loma Linda University and other institutions of learning that are run by the Seventh-day Adventist Church that have done a good work. But these are limited in number. And for the greater part, most of us are exposed to physicians whom their example has got an educating influence in the opposite direction. And I'm reading from the book Medical Ministry, page 223, paragraph 3. If the physician has not been correct in his dietetic practices, if his own appetite has not been restricted to a plain, wholesome diet, in a large measure, discarding the use of the flesh of dead animals, and so on, he will as soon educate and discipline the taste and appetite of his patients to love the things that he loves, as to give them the sound principles of health reform. He will prescribe for sick patients flesh meats when it is the very worst diet that they can have. It stimulates but does not give strength. Friends, as you can see, the picture that I've put on the top left of my slide, there is a doctor there who's putting in a prescription, and this prescription that the doctor is writing is a prescription of plant foods. When a doctor is practicing a total plant-based lifestyle, the New Start lifestyle, they will also prescribe it to their patients because they love it. They have seen the results of living such a lifestyle. So what you normally get from your physician is mainly also influenced by the lifestyle that this particular doctor is living and what he loves as an individual. For one cannot share what they do not have an experience in and what they don't have. But another page, 119. The purpose of health reform is to clear the brain in order to discern truth and to fit the body for greatest efficiency in God's service. He, that is God, designs that the subject of health reform shall be agitated, and the public mind deeply stirred to investigate it. For it is impossible for men and women, while under the power of sinful, health-destroying, brain-enervating habits, to appreciate sacred truth. Thus is the purpose of health reform. There is a need to assist nature, and here nature is referring to the human body. I'm reading from the book Medical Ministry, page 223, paragraph 4. Nature, that is the human body, will want some assistance to bring things to their proper condition, which may be found in the simplest of remedies, especially in the use of nature's own furnished remedies, which are these ones: pure air, and with the precious knowledge of how to breathe; pure water, with the knowledge of how to apply it; plenty of sunshine in every room in the house if possible, and with an intelligent knowledge of what advantages are to be gained by its use. Sunlight is available for everyone, so is fresh air, so is pure water. But the question then comes is, does one have got the knowledge how to breathe? Do they know how to apply the knowledge to use pure water to their advantage? Do they have the knowledge to make use of sunshine? Do they have this intelligent knowledge of the advantages that are going to be gained by its use? All these are powerful in their efficiency, and the patient who has obtained a knowledge of how to eat and dress healthfully may live for comfort, for peace, and for health, and will not be prevailed upon to put to his lips drugs, which in the place of helping nature paralyzes her powers. If the sick and suffering will do only as well know in regard to living out the principles of health reform perseveringly, then they will in 9 cases out of 10 recover from their ailments. The inspired writings here are giving us a beautiful principle. 90% of chronic sicknesses, lifestyle-related sicknesses, and emergence cases as well, people can recover from them, not maintain that particular status of sickness, but can recover from their ailments, from their sicknesses, from their diseases, if they have got a knowledge and make use of that particular knowledge of the principles of health reform perseveringly. Thus, there is need to educate people line upon line. And I'm reading from the book Medical Ministry, page 224, paragraph 1 and 2. The feeble and suffering ones must be educated line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, until they will have respect for and live in obedience to the law that God has made to control the human organism. Those who sin against knowledge and light and resort to the skill of a physician administering drugs will be constantly losing their hold on life. The less there is of drug dosing, the more favorable will be their recovery to health. Drugs, in the place of helping nature, are constantly paralyzing their efforts. They do not inquire into their former habits of eating and drinking, and take special notice of their erroneous habits, which have been for many years laying the foundation of disease. Conscientious physicians should be prepared to enlighten those who are ignorant, and should, with wisdom, make out their prescriptions, prohibiting those things in their diet which he knows to be erroneous. So I've got a friend that used to go to this particular doctor here in Mutare, and this particular doctor, when she gets there, wanted to make use of a medical aid resources, the doctor would prescribe lifestyle changes on the prescription. The doctor would prescribe lifestyle changes first and say, hey, look here, you are sick because of A, B, C, D. This is the cause. And I would want you to work on these for the next coming 2 weeks. Come back for review and we'll see how you'll be doing. And this became a very well-known doctor at this particular healthcare institution. But most people, as she narrates, were not keen and interested to go to her again after the first visit, because what they wanted was prescription drugs, which she was not keen to give. This is exactly what Ellen White is addressing here, that physicians should be keen and have that conscience to be able to give people a prescription that denotes what to avoid and what to take as far as their lifestyle is concerned in relation to the condition that they're suffering from. And what will this do? It will help them to become obedient to the laws that control the human organism. And the less the drug that will be prescribed, the better and favorable will be the recovery. Wisdom and experience is needed so as to be able to do this. Let's learn more. And I'm reading here from Medical Ministry, page 224, paragraph 3 and 4. He that is the physician should plainly state the things which he regards as detrimental to the laws of health, and leave these suffering ones to be consciously to do the things for themselves, which they can do, and thus place themselves in right relation to the laws of life and health. When from an enlightened conscience, they do the very best they know how to do to preserve themselves in health, then in faith, they may look to the great physician who is a healer of the body as well as the soul. We are health reformers. Physicians should have wisdom and experience and be thorough health reformers. Then they will be constantly educating by precept and by example their patients from drugs. For they well know that the use of drugs may produce for the time being favorable results, but we implant in the system that which will cause great difficulties thereafter, which they may never recover from during their lifetime. Nature must have a chance to do her work. Obstructions must be removed and opportunity given her to exert her healing forces, which she will surely do if every abuse is removed from her and she has a fair chance. What an amazing counsel that we get from God. Physicians have got a work to do. And this is a calling that I'm giving to all physicians out there that are listening to this particular presentation. And if you know of other physicians in your field, please share with them that they may be able to know these principles that God is giving his people today. If the physicians have got this knowledge, for the African mind especially has been taught and has been groomed to look to the physician for help when it comes to sickness. And it behooves the physician to realize their mandate that God has given and placed in their hands. Confidence in nature's remedies to be cultivated. Medical Ministry, page 225, paragraph 1. The sick should be educated to have confidence in nature's great blessings, which God has provided. And the most effective remedies for diseases are pure soft water, and the blessed God-given sunshine coming into the rooms of the invalids, living outdoors as much as possible, having healthful exercise, eating and drinking foods that are prepared in the most healthful manner. The public, the church members, they need to have an education that they may have confidence in nature's great blessings of water, pure soft water, of sunshine, of fresh air in the rooms that they stay, that they sleep, that they work, healthful exercise, eating and drinking foods that are prepared in the most healthful manner. Nature's great medicinal resources. Let's look at this. In the efforts made for the restoration of the sick to health, use is to be made of the beautiful things of the Lord's creation. Seeing the flowers, plucking the ripe fruit from the trees, hearing the happy songs of the birds, have a peculiar exhilarating effect on the nervous system. From out-of-door life, men, women, and children will gain the desire to be pure and guileless. By the influence of the quickening, reviving, life-giving properties of nature's great medicinal resources, the functions of the body are strengthened, the intellect awakened, the imagination quickened, the spirits enlivened, the mind is prepared to appreciate the beauties of God's word. Children of God, it cannot get any better than this. We cannot improve on God's plan. This is God's plan, especially for the nervous system. when people are suffering with diseases of the nervous system, related to the brain, related to their spinal cord, related to their mind, how they think and comprehend things, seeing the flowers, plucking the ripe fruit from the trees, hearing the happy songs of the birds have a peculiar exhilarating effect upon the nervous system. Why should not the young men and women who are seeking to obtain a knowledge of how to care for the sick have the advantage of nature's wonderful resources? God helping me, this is Ellen White now saying, I will do my utmost to show the life-giving power of sunshine and fresh air, how much better it is for the sick to be in the open air than within four walls, decorated though these walls may be with many pictures. Friends, God is inviting the sick and those that want to prevent sickness of the mind to do what? To expose themselves to nature. For in the beginning, Adam and Eve were put by God in a garden. So therefore, if today you want to have good mental hygiene, good mental health, expose yourself to God's wonderful resources found in nature. Now, let's look at the location of sanitariums. Today, they are called lifestyle centers. For this is one of the key systems that need to be established where people can go and recover, where people can go and be given instruction on how to live a healthy lifestyle. I have received much instruction regarding the location of sanitariums. They should be a few miles distant from the large cities, and land should be secured in connection with them. Fruit and vegetables should be cultivated, and the patients should be encouraged to take up outdoor work. Many who are suffering from pulmonary disease might be cured if they would live in a climate where they could be out of doors for most of the year. Many who have died of consumption, that is tuberculosis, might have lived if they had breathed more pure fresh air. Fresh outdoor air is as healing as medicine and leaves no injurious after effects. Friends, today there is a lot of mechanisms that have come up in helping people with deep breathing. We now have got a lot of deep breathing exercises, how to benefit from the fresh air. And sometimes in cases of emergency, one can have oxygen therapies that can help the individual to gain this God-given virtue, a gift of oxygen that God gives us on a daily basis. The sanitarium garden, talking about the lifestyle garden as far as natural remedies are concerned. 70, page 78, paragraph 2, it reads, in the night season, I was given a view of a sanitarium in the country. The institution was not large, but it was complete. It was surrounded by beautiful trees and shrubbery, beyond which were orchards and groves. Connected with the place were gardens, in which the lady patients, when they chose, could cultivate flowers of every description. Each patient selecting a special plot for which to care. Outdoor exercise in these gardens was prescribed as part of the regular treatment. Oh, friends, this is amazing. So as far as natural remedies is concerned, God is saying nature. When you look at the lifestyle center out there in nature, that is a natural remedy itself, just because of the location. Not just that, when then there is a garden where patients can be given portions to work in as part of their regular treatment. You know, in actual essence, people suffering from Alzheimer's disease, studies have been done where if they can just sit on a chair and observe people working in a garden, their mind begins to get restored, begins to connect new pathways, let alone should they have the ability to get down into the soil, touch and interact with the plants and the flowers, there is a recovery that comes their way. Now, we're going to look at whole foods. This is the phytochemicals and the antioxidants for preventative and curative purposes. So we are looking at whole foods as a natural remedy. I hope you understand this, friends. We looked at the location of the lifestyle center as a natural remedy. We looked at the garden where vegetables, where orchards are growing vegetables and fruits, where patients can engage in the according to their ability as a natural remedy. Pure air as a natural remedy. Fresh, pure soft water as a natural remedy. The sunlight as a natural remedy. Now we're going to look at nutrition, but whole foods, total plant-based nutrition. In grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts are to be found all the food elements that we need. If we will come to the Lord in simplicity of mind, He will teach us how to prepare wholesome foods free from the taint of flesh meat, manuscript 27 of 1906. But as far as material for greens is concerned, you need have no concern. For to my certain knowledge, they are in the selection of country where you live many kinds of vegetable productions, which I can use as greens. I shall be able to obtain the leaves of the yellow duck, the young dandelion, and mustards. Letter 31, 1901. Whole foods have got preventative and curative properties in them. And we are learning here that the grains, the fruits, the vegetables, and the nuts, they have got food elements that we need that can help with prevention of disease and also prevention of disease and also curing or reversing sickness. And dandelion, mustards, and yellow duck, when they are thrown into a salad, oh, they taste so nice. Not just that, but you also get the benefits of the nutrients from there. Some people, they prefer cooking them. We have ate them in South Africa and Mashatu Europe, and here in Zimbabwe, we are also eating them cooked and also thrown into salads, and they are a very good source of nutrients and good food. In our essence, each time when we eat them, we actually notice a change in our bowel movement. We notice a change in our gastrointestinal health. And this is key and fundamental when it comes to overall good health. Reading letter 10 of 1902, my thistle greens, nicely cooked and seasoned with sterilized cream and lemon juice, are very appetizing. Friends, when the lemon is squeezed on top of the salad greens, the thistle greens, they take a very good appetizing taste, and you can enjoy these whole foods, the phytochemicals, the antioxidants that are good for prevention of disease and reversing of sickness. Let's look at hydrothermal therapy. It can come in the form of liquid, it can come in the form of ice, or in the form of steam. And this is water therapy, water used in its different temperature levels as a form of a treatment or productive of goodness. And one of the effects that you have, it can help to tone the stomach, and it can also calm irritated nerves. And I'm going to read from Testimonies on Diet and Food, page 6, paragraph 2, and it says, water can be used in many ways to relieve suffering. Many ways, but today we're only going to look at one way. Drafts of clear hot water taken before eating, half a quart, more or less, will never do any harm, but will rather be productive of good. Friends, we can drink clear hot water just before a meal, maybe 500 mils, maybe 250 mils, and this will be productive of good. Let's look at catnip as an infusion tea. It has got volatile properties in them and the tannins that are active properties, and it functions as a mild sedative. And thus it works for the nervous system. How? A cup of tea made from catnip herb will quiet the nerves. For someone who's got irritated nerves, quick to anger, they are impatient, blowing the fuse often, a cup of tea made from catnip herb can help to quiet the nerves. This is one way. There are many other ways that can be used to help that particular individual. cognitive behavior therapy can be implemented to help this individual together with the catnip. And also there are some foods that have got a tendency to make nerves become irritated, and this can be avoided, such as additives like MSG, monosodium glutamate, and the like. Outdoor fresh air. The ions that were found in the outdoor fresh air are very good for good health. In actual essence, this can be made use of for people that are suffering from pulmonary diseases. I'm reading from 2SM 291, paragraph 1. Many who are suffering from pulmonary disease might be cured if they would live in a climate where they could be out of doors most of the year. Many who have died of consumption, that is tuberculosis, might have lived if they'd breathed more pure fresh air. Fresh outdoor air is as healing as medicine and leaves no injurious after effects. Imagine if the fresh air we breathe could have been containerized and put in a bottle that can be sold as a product that has got copyrights in a pharmacy or in a supermarket. It would sell. But God is a God of mercy and love. He's not allowed that, and He's given us freely of this fresh air. Let's make use of it. Let's look at hops, infusion tea, and also the other properties in it is lupulin, which actually makes it bitter when one is drinking it. It's also a tonic for dyspepsia and hysteria. Thus, it acts as a mild sedative and it's got this hypnotic. When I'm talking about hypnotic, I'm not talking about the hypnotic effect that is productive of negativity, but for insomnia, to help someone to calm and rest. So looking at insomnia, hop tea will induce sleep. Hop poultices over the stomach will relieve pain. 2SM page 297, paragraph 5. So one can take the leaves of the hops in a form of a tea, infuse it in hot water for 15 minutes, then sieve it and drink, and it can help with insomnia or sleeplessness. When one has got stomach pain and they crush these particular fresh leaves and make them into a detox pack or a poultice and place it over the abdomen, it relieves pain. Then when it comes to weak eyes, if the eyes are weak, if there is pain in the eyes or inflammation, soft flannel cloths wet in hot water and salt will bring relief quickly. Head congestion, when the head is congested, if the feet and limbs are put in a bath with a little mustard, relief will be obtained. 2SM 297, paragraph 7. These are the benefits that God has given us in nature that we can make use of, and we need to have the knowledge and the intelligence of how to make use of these. Let's look at peppermint. Peppermint has got a volatile oil that has got a carminative effect and a laxative effect. That is to say, it helps with bowel movement, it helps with toning the colon, it also helps with dealing with flatulence and gas and indigestion. Thus, it is good for nausea, colic, and flatus. I'm reading from Review and Herald, January 20, 1910. The porter brought some hot water into this Miss McIntyre, put a little peppermint, and with much difficulty got Mrs. White to swallow a few spoonfuls. Then she vigorously rubbed her hands and arms and feet. After much delay, bottles of hot water were secured and placed over her feet and at her heart. In the course of an hour, her pulse began to grow stronger, and as we dropped into the lower altitude, her heart action increased. In this particular scenario here, we are given actually a number of remedies that were made use of to help Ellen White and to regain good heart action. So we find that there was the use of heat through the hot water bottles, and also there was the use of spoonfuls of a little bit of water mixed with peppermint oil. This was when she was feeling nausea or nauseated, and she was able to recover. Let's look at ginger. It can be taken as a fluid extract. It can be taken as a powder or resin, and the volatile oils in there are the ones that have got the properties that enable it to be a carminative, that have got a carminative effect as far as its properties are concerned. Thus, it is a productive of good for colic, diarrhea, and indigestion. Sarah bought a bottle of milk and some warm water this morning. I put ginger in it and it went well. Letter 22 of 1883, pages 1 to 3. And she was writing to W.C. and Mary White. Then 15 MR 245 paragraph 4 has got the following to say: in regard to our using spice, I had not guilt. I plead not guilt. We have not had spice in our house for 10 years, except a little ginger, which we have always used to some extent. So there are condiments and spices which are to be avoided for use on a daily basis, like ginger, like black pepper, like cayenne pepper, but which can be made use of for medicinal purposes, not on a daily basis as part of a lifestyle as far as the diet is concerned. Let's look at citrus juice. It has got bioflavonoids, citric acid, and also it has got citrus limonades, polyphenols, and ascorbic acid. And thus it makes it an agent that is good for respiration challenges. It has got antibacterial properties, and it's also used in culinary, and also has got an acidulant part that it plays as far as the digestive system is concerned. And when Ellen White had a nicotine attack, when she was in a train where there were people that were smoking, and she began to feel faint and was struggling, let's learn more about how she managed to overcome this. The third day, when the aromatic odor of the cigars came to me, I became stomach sick. The most intense pain pierced my eyeballs and back of the eyeballs in my head. It seemed that the top of my head was crashing like broken glass. My distress became very great. I thought I was going into a fit. Large drops of perspiration stood upon my face, and my entire body broke out in profuse perspiration. Then came a confused noise in my head, and I became blind and fainted entirely away. In half an hour, I revived by lemon juice being pressed in my mouth. I knew as soon as I revived that it was the smoking of cigars which had thus affected me. All in the cars were alarmed, and smoking was banished from the car. I have not fully recovered from the effects of this illness. Letter 24 of 1873, paragraph 3. Ellen White had an experience with secondhand smoking. This is where when one person is smoking and you are in the vicinity, you yourself, you're not a smoker, you're not smoking, but then you breathe in the air that the person is blowing out, or the contaminated air that is the contaminated air that now has been contaminated by the burning of the cigarette. And when she took this in, when she was breathing, she had a nicotine attack, and actually she entirely fainted, and she was revived by lemon juice. And this was an emergency situation that God came through for her. Natural remedies have got a place and role when it comes to emergencies. It depends which manner and nature of emergency it is. Let's look at rheumatism and coughs. Rheumatism and coughs. It is a treat to have all the oranges we want. Oh, we enjoyed the oranges in winter time. Yeah, they were very good this time around. We had plenty of them. I use lemon juice freely, she goes on to say. It is the best thing you could use for rheumatism, for your head, and for malaria. So she gives here 3 things that lemon juice can be used for freely. One can make use of lemon juice, add it in water and drink it freely. It can be used for challenges with joints and joint pains. It can be used for the head, that is when there's congestion or when one feels faint, and also for malaria. Of course, it depends with the severity of the case. Some cases, people might recover completely, but some cases need more aggressive approaches to make use of. So here, the teaching is not for you to take lemon juice because you're suffering from malaria and you say that's the end of it, that's all of it. No, that's not what we are teaching here. We are teaching that when one is suffering with malaria, lemon juice has got a role to play. When one has got head congestion, when one has got rheumatism, rheumatoid arthritis and the like, lemon juice plays a role. And there are other modalities to be looked into. Ascertain the cause. Look into your new start lifestyle. What do you need to change? What other modalities need to be put into place? How severe is the situation? What can I do? Do I need to call upon a physician? Do I need to be admitted in a hospital facility? Do I need to be admitted in a lifestyle center? What is it that needs to be done here? So we need to approach this with a common sense. We need to approach this with a mind that is sound, that we may not make use of these particular remedies amiss, and then have challenges in our own bodies and those of the ones that we advise. Manuscript 183 of 1898, paragraph 30, honey and lemon was prepared for the violent cough that afflicted all of the family. So these days, because of the pandemic that we are facing, many families are afflicted with violent coughs. And one of the remedies that people can make use of is honey and lemon. Let's look at eucalyptus oil and honey put together. Apart from just lemon and honey, let's look now with added eucalyptus. The oil that is in there, the volatile oils, have got an antiseptic property, and thus it is good for infection of the upper respiratory tract for coughs and pains. And I'm reading from letter 348 of 1908 to a worker, and it is also recorded again in 2SM, page 300, paragraph 2. I am very sorry to learn that Sister C is not well. I cannot advise any remedy for a cough better than eucalyptus and honey. Into a tumbler of honey, put a few drops of the eucalyptus, stir it up well, and take whenever the cough comes on. I have had considerable trouble with my throat, but whenever I use this, I overcome the difficulty very quickly. I have to use it only a few times, and the cough is removed. If you use this prescription, you may be your own physician. If the first trial doses not effect any cure, try it again. The best time to take it is before retiring. This is marvelous. This is wonderful. Make use of eucalyptus oil and honey. We also add a little bit of cayenne pepper, just a dash of cayenne pepper. And when one takes it, they can feel the chest clearing, and they can begin to feel a relief as far as the challenge is concerned. And if one does not get the relief the first time, another time, do it again and again. And you find that when it's coupled with drinking adequate water, avoiding the substances that irritate the respiratory tract, like smoking, avoiding things like the boxed juices. The 100% juices have got productive of bringing up cough when people take them more often. So one is going to look into these particular things to be able to realize how best can I make use of these so that it benefits me completely. But you can make use of the knowledge that you have, that God has given you, the light that you have, and you'll be able to have good benefits. Let's look at eucalyptus leaves as an infusion. The oils in the volatile oil is of particular importance for coughs and respiratory pains. When it's used as a hydrotherapy, again, take warm foot baths, which have been put the leaves from the eucalyptus tree. There is a great virtue in these leaves, and if you try this, you will prove many words to be true. The oil of the eucalyptus is especially beneficial in cases of cough and pains in the chest and lungs. I want you to make a trial of this remedy, which is so simple and which costs you nothing. That is if you're in a place where you've got access to eucalyptus trees, especially the blue gum. If you don't have, then make use of eucalyptus oil, essential oils. Let's look at teas. Caffeine. It has got the theophylline. The teas that I'm talking about here are caffeinated teas, teas that have got caffeine, that have got theophylline, tannic acid, and as a result, they've got astringent properties, carminative properties, dealing with nausea and vomiting, and antiemetics. So we're going to look at sea sickness or motion sickness. That's what we're going to look at now. And I'm reading from manuscript 3 of 1888 in a sermon given at Oakland, California. Once when crossing the waters, that is crossing the sea, I was sick and could retain nothing on my stomach. And I did take a little weak tea as a medicine. But I don't want any of you again to make the remark that Sister White uses tea. If you come to my house, I'll show you the bag that contains my herb drink. I sent to Michigan across the mountains and get the red clover top. In regard to coffee, I never could drink it. So those who reported that Sister White drinks coffee made a mistake. It was used as a medicine and not on a daily basis. So you'll find that coffee can be used as a remedy in different ways. Today, they are used in different methods as a form of a treatment, but not as something to be taken on a daily basis. Vomiting. I did not use tea, either green or black. Not a spoonful has passed my lips for many years, except when crossing the sea, and once since on this side, I took it as a medicine when I was sick and vomiting. In such circumstances, it may prove a present relief. It's also found, you've also find that when one takes guarana, which is a herbal remedy, a form of a tea, it has got a bit of high levels of caffeine. And when one takes this particular guarana, when they are fainting and when they have got a hypotension, in the absence of cayenne pepper, when it's put underneath the tongue, they can revive quickly and then do whatever else needs to be done as far as dealing with this emergency is concerned. Still looking at coffee as medicine, I have not knowingly drunk a cup of genuine coffee for 20 years. Only as I stated during my sickness for a medicine, I drank a cup of coffee, very strong, with a raw egg broken into it. So raw egg and coffee mixed together and taken is a remedy that one can make use of in times of need, but not as a lifestyle to be taken on a daily basis. Grape juice and eggs, that is the fresh juice of grape juice and the fresh eggs, it's rich in polyphenols and resveratrol, as well as the albumin, which is the fat protein, and the protein in the eggs and other substances found in them. And it works as a tonic and calming agent. I have received light that you are injuring your body by a poverty-stricken diet. It is the lack of suitable food that has caused you to suffer so keenly. We have not taken the food essential to nourish your frail physical strength. You must not deny yourself of good, wholesome food. Get eggs of healthy fowls. Use these eggs, cooked or raw. Drop them uncooked into the best unfermented wine you can find. This will supply that which is necessary for your system. Eggs contain properties which are remedial agents in counteracting poisons. So this prescription is being given as a treatment. And remember, when natural remedies are given, they're not a lifelong treatment like how pharmaceuticals are given, but it's for a short period of time, 5 days, 10 days, or for 1 month, and one stops making use of them. If one continues to use them for a lifetime or life period of existence on earth, they need to look back again and say, I need to revisit and see where am I missing it, that they may get to a point where they experience vibrant health. Figs, that is the leaves infusion or the latex of the fruit, has got laxative properties and dermatological properties. And for boils, it was used for King Hezekiah, manuscript 29, 1911. Hezekiah was sick. The prophet of God brought him the message that he should die. The king cried to the Lord, and the Lord heard him and sent the promise that 15 years should be added to his life. One word from God, one touch of the divine finger would have been enough to cure Hezekiah instantly. But instead, he was given directions to make a poultice of figs and lay it upon the part affected. This was done, and Hezekiah was restored to health. This was done, and Hezekiah was restored to health. It would be well to treasure this prescription, which the Lord ordered to be used more than we do. So when we look in the Bible, God gave a prescription for boils, and it is a poultice of figs. We could treasure this and make use of it and be able to gain the benefits. Let's look at the pine, the cedar, the fir, the fragrance that come from these particular trees. They've got aromatherapy. They have got therapeutic properties in the scent that comes from these particular trees. And the medicinal properties are given as follows by Ellen White. And I'm reading letter 95 of 1902. The Lord has given me light in regard to many things. He has shown me that our sanitariums should be erected on as high an elevation as is necessary to secure the best results, and that they are to be surrounded by extensive tracts of land, beautified by flowers and ornamental trees. In a certain place, preparations were being made to clear the land for the erection of the sanitarium. Light was given that there is health in the fragrance of the pine, the cedar, and the fir, and there are several other kinds of trees that have medicinal properties that are health promoting. Let not such trees be ruthlessly cut down. Let them live. So when one is moving to the countryside and they find trees on their place, when they are choosing a place to build their house or their home and a place for the gardening, when they are clearing these places or for farming, when they're clearing these places, they should take note of these beautiful trees, that they shouldn't be cut down. Trees like eucalyptus trees, like acacia trees, that have got this beautiful scent that they give, which is productive of good, for good health. Eucalyptus oil and honey, we looked at it, but now we're going to look at it for sore throat with its properties that we discussed in the previous slides. I think I've already told you the remedy I use when suffering from difficulties with my throat. I take a glass of boiled honey, and into this I put a few drops of eucalyptus oil, stirring it in well. When the cough comes on, I take a teaspoon of this mixture, and relief comes almost immediately. I have always used it with the best results, with the best of results. I ask you to use the same remedy when you are troubled with a cough. This prescription may seem so simple, but you will feel no confidence in it. But I have tried it for a number of years and can highly recommend it. So when Ellen White is recommending this particular remedy, she has made use of it for several years and has found it to be effective, and you can try it and make use of it. It may become effective for you as well. Sunlight, that is phototherapy, nature's healing agent. Invalids, people that are terminally ill, can actually be benefited by sunlight. Invalids too often deprive themselves of sunlight. This is one of nature's most healing agents. It is a very simple, therefore not a fashionable remedy, to enjoy the rays of God's sunlight and beautify our homes with its presence. 2T 257, paragraph 1. Make use of sunlight. Phototherapy, it will be a productive of good as far as your health is concerned. When the sun touches the skin, then the skin, a big factory there, begins to produce vitamin D, which is essential for the immune system, essential to deal with the pandemic that is arising these days. Let's look at pulverized charcoal and olive oil. The active properties being the carbon and the fixed oil that have got carminative properties and good for indigestion. I'm reading from 2SM 298, paragraph 5. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with charcoal as a remedy. For some forms of indigestion, it is more efficacious than drugs. A little olive oil into which some of this powder has been stirred tends to cleanse and heal. I find it is excellent. Indeed, it is excellent. We have made this particular prescription to many people suffering with indigestion, and it has helped them to regain the digestive system to be toned up well. For pain and suffering, 2SM 295 paragraph 3, I have ordered the same treatment for others who were suffering great pain, and it has brought relief and been the means of saving life. Snake bites and the sting of reptiles and poisonous insects. My mother had told me that snake bites and the sting of reptiles and poisonous insects could often be rendered harmless by the use of charcoal poultices. This is Ellen White's son sharing that this is what her mother shared with her, that poisonous insects, sting of reptiles, snake and bites can often be rendered harmless by the use of charcoal poultices. Pulverized charcoal as well for colic, pain, diarrhea, and ulcers. Let's look at a fever. And she's narrating a situation here. She, the lady being referred to, had contracted fever while on the campground and was taken to our school building near Melbourne in Australia. But she became so much worse that it was feared that she could not leave. The physician, Dr. Merritt Kellogg, came to me and said, Sister White, have you any light on this case? If relief cannot be given our sister, she can leave but a few hours. I replied, send to the blacksmith shop and get pulverized charcoal, make a poultice of it, lay it on her stomach and sides. The doctor hastened away to follow out my instructions. Soon he returned saying relief came in less than an hour. After the application of the poultices, she is now having the first natural sleep she had had for days. Friends, when physicians follow the counsel that Ellen White has given us, when people, the church members, the public follow these particular counsels, they will have benefits that are beyond compare. We have seen the benefits that activated charcoal has got when dealing with wounds that putrefying, and how they draw out the toxins and how they take out the sand and how the person begin to live comfortably without the discomfort that the scent of putrefying souls brings, indigestion, reviving someone who is so weak. And we have seen it also with issues of poisoning, and the Lord has done wonderful things with activated charcoal. It's actually a remedy that you want to have always with you in your car when you're traveling, in your bag when you're using public transport, at home, wherever you are, for it is handy. You can make use of it at any time. Rapid recovery from enteritis, that is inflammation of the bowels. A brother was taken sick with inflammation of the bowels and blood dysentery. The man was not a careful health reformer, but indulged his appetite. We were just preparing to leave Texas, where we had been laboring for several months, and we had carriages prepared to take away this brother and his family, and several others were suffering from malaria or fever. My husband and I thought we would stand this expense rather than have the heads of several families die and leave their wives and children unprovided for. 2 or 3 were taken in a large spring wagon on spring mattresses, but this man was suffering from inflammation of the bowels, sent for me to come into him. My husband and I decided that it would not do to move him. Fears were entertained that mortification had set in. Then the thought came to me like a communication from the Lord to take pulverized charcoal, put water upon it, and give this water to the sick man to drink, putting bandages of charcoal over the bowels and stomach. We were about 1 mile from the city of Denison, but the sick man's son went to a blacksmith shop, secured the charcoal and pulverized it, and then used it according to the directions given. The result was that in half an hour, there was a change for the better. We had to go on our journey and leave the family behind. But what was our surprise the following day to see their wagon overtake us? The sick man was lying in a bed in the wagon. The blessing of God had worked with the simple means used. We have seen again and again these natural remedies work wonders in many lives of different people. And God can do the same for you. Believe in the Lord, and thou shalt be established. Believe in the prophet, and thou shalt become prosperous. And this is God's plan, that when you embrace the natural remedies, you as an individual may begin to realize that there is hope for recovery, there is hope for reversal of sicknesses, than maintaining and remaining in a status quo of being sick and under medication that can be an expense in the long run. Talking about charcoal and flaxseed also, caked or crushed, can act as a poultice, as a detox pack on the stomach, and thus it can act as a demulcent. We need a hospital so much, Ellen White says. On Thursday, Sister Sarah McIntyre, a trained nurse of experience, well qualified for this type of service, who accompanied Mrs. White and assisted her both as a traveling companion and private secretary, this is put by the compilers, was called to see if she could do anything for Brother B's little son, who is 18 months old. For several days, he had been having a painful swelling on the knee, supposed to be from the bite of some poisonous insect. Pulverized charcoal mixed with flaxseed was prepared upon the swelling, and this poultice gave relief at once. The child had screamed with pain all night, but when this was applied, he slept. Today, she has been to see the little one twice. She opened the swelling in 2 places, and a large amount of yellow matter and blood was discharged freely. The child was relieved of his great suffering. We thank the Lord that we may become intelligent in using the simple things which are within our reach to elevate pain and successfully remove its cause. Manuscript 68, 1899, General Manuscript. Friends, we can make use of these natural remedies in our day-to-day. And God will do marvelous works. Remember a child that was crying the whole night, could not sleep. The child had developed sores inside the mouth on the upper palate, and they've tried all manner of medicines and they were not helped. But when they came through, we made charcoal slurry water, gave the child in spoonfuls, and also put a small detox pack of activated charcoal on the abdomen. And the following day, the child was happy, roaming around, not in pain, and well recovered. The Lord had done a miracle overnight, and God is in the business of doing miracles in our day today. So the book of Jeremiah 30 verse 17 says, "For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, says the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after." It may seem as if within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, within the spiritual Israel of today, it may seem as if there is not anything to seek after as far as recovery of sickness is concerned using natural remedies. But there is a lot, for the Lord is saying, I will restore health to you and I will heal thee of thy wounds. We want to pray today. We want to pray for someone saying, Lord, I want to make use of natural remedies. I want to have the confidence. I also want to gain the intellectual knowledge of how to make use of them. I want to gain the knowledge through training, guide and help me to get and obtain the right knowledge. Maybe someone has been despising these natural remedies and has been actually working against them. And Lord is saying, I repent of my thoughts and I want to make use of natural remedies from henceforth. If this is your prayer, close your eyes with me as I pray. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for this day and for teaching us about the natural remedies and how we can make use of them. May your grace and your mercy attend to each and every one of us and help us, dear Jesus, that we may be in a position where we can make use of these remedies. Give each and every one of your children that are willing to gain a knowledge of training and understanding of how to make use of these remedies, an opportunity for them to learn. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.